Alright, welcome back guys. Sorry I have not been making videos nearly as often as I was. I've just been super busy with work, family stuff, been sick, had people over, all kinds of just being busy. So I'm still trying to create a video at least every other week if I can. Today is going to be kind of a video I've been wanting to do for a while, just haven't had a chance to do it, but it's going to be a comparison of Lumens versus Candela and kind of why you would want one over the other. And this is also just to kind of show you, don't buy into the hype of something that says it's, 3,000 lumens or 4,000 lumens or some ridiculous number that's really high up there, when in reality you're going to get pretty poor performance. Because lumens is not the same thing as Candela. And honestly, long story short, if you don't want to watch any more of this video, just know that Candela is more important, at least in my opinion, when it comes to specifically a weapons light. Now, if you want to argue for more lumens and you're not as worried for Candela, for like a pocket light or an EDC light or something, I can kind of get behind that a little bit. But again, it depends on what your purpose is for. I'm not going to say, one is always going to be better than the other. No, there's times where you want all the lumens because you're in a box, basically the size of a room. So, do you really need high Candela if you're in a, 20 foot by 20 foot room? No, you don't. All that said, and also if you hear any noises in the background, sorry, it's just my son. He's happily content right now with all his old toys. So I wanted to kind of show a comparison, and I have footage that I just took in my backyard just to show you all of these lights here, and kind of what they look like in comparison to each other, and to show you that things like this, this is the Warrior Mini 2 made by Olight. It's around 1,200 lumens if I remember right. But if you look down in there, that bezel is not deep at all. So because of that, you don't get really all that much Candela. So it has a lot of, just flood for, it lights up my backyard well enough. But if you're trying to see one thing specifically, like say, see what's in someone's hands or what they're holding, or, kind of an area that's beyond a little bit of a light, like say a street light or something. If you've ever noticed, well, especially in like foggy environments or if it's raining, or an area where there's lighting, like say from a street lamp, but you're trying to see kind of what's beyond the street lamp, you're going to be, for lack of better words, more or less blinded by all the light from the street lamp to where you can't really see what's beyond it. So in order to beat that, what's called a photonic barrier, you're going to need something like this. This is a Cyansky, their K3, I think it's the V2. If you notice, that hotspot is just ridiculous. So what that Candela, or the hotspot, or the throw, depending on what you want to call it, is good for beating photonic barriers. So if you're trying to basically beat the other person's light, or beat the environment, environmental light, you want high Candela, because that allows you just to punch through things, to see things a little bit better, farther. A good way to compare this is if you're old enough like me and you're used to using those old AA battery mag lights, or the bigger ones that took the D-cell batteries, that you could adjust the head on them, where you could spin them like this, and it would allow the focus to be more narrow or more broad. Think of lumens as if you took off the cap altogether and it's just a light bulb. That's total output. But Candela is basically how much you would focus it, twist it to where you can see farther down. Obviously, without the cap on it, you could light up a room fine, but if you're trying to see something at a distance, it wouldn't work. So again, in this video, I'm going to try to make the argument that you should really pay more attention to Candela, especially for a weapons light. So again, comparison, this is going to be the TLR7A. This is a Streamlight X300 Turbo. This is the actual Streamlight. I have a knockoff of the X300 as well, and it works okay. This is the Streamlight TLR1 HL. Now the lumens output on all these is, that one's 650, this one's 1,000, 1,200. This is not an actual Surefire, even though it says it on there. This is the Chinese knockoff of the dual fuel, which it only works with CR123 batteries. It won't work with an 18650 for whatever reason. Maybe it will with certain ones, but it won't work with the ones I have. Here is just your Streamlight. This is the Macrostream USB. It's 500 lumens, I believe. Here is another knockoff Surefire Vampire that I got off eBay. I want to say it's somewhere around 400 to 500 lumens. Here is an Inforce weapon mounted light. It's the, I believe it's 700 lumens. It also has an IR feature as well, where you flip that and now it's an IR. Then you have the Cyansky, like I said, the K3. This is the version 2, which has, I believe it's 2,000 lumens, if I'm not mistaken, and the Candela on that one is 125,000, which is crazy. The Candela on this one, the Turbo, is 66,000, and I believe the Candela on this one right here, the Streamlight, I want to say it's somewhere around 20,000. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere in that range. And then the last one is, y'all are probably familiar with this. It's a Streamlight. This is the ProTac, the Railmount version. It's 1,000 lumens, and it has probably the most Candela that's not this one and this one. It probably has the next most. I want to say it's somewhere around 30,000, 23,000, somewhere in that range. It's more than this one, but not by a whole lot, because this and this is pretty similar. The last one I'll be showing too is this is the Surefire. This is an actual vampire. It only has 350 lumens, but it actually outperforms most of these on here that don't have high Candela. For instance, this one right here, the Railmount, it's 1,000 lumens, but this vampire right here will actually, in the area where you see the beam pattern, is actually just as bright at distance as this. Now this gives you a lot more flood or field of view, but if you're just looking at, say, a person holding a rifle or whatever at 50 yards, you're going to be able to identify him just as easily with this as you would with this 350 lumen white light. And it's just because all that light that it does produce is focused in one spot instead of being wasted all around the side. So one good way to see that, go through your house and just take some of your flashlights and just go around and kind of shine it at different things at different distances and see how much wasted light you have on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls beside you. Or if you're trying to look through a doorway, how much of that light is being spilled, like on the door frame or on the walls next to you, actually reflecting that light back at you. Now again, your gun and the light could be pointed directly, you know, at the very end of your hallway or something, but because all of that light is being wasted on all the walls around you, that's kind of blinding you to some degree. And there's no real way to mitigate that if you have something like this, you know, that just has an incredible amount of flood. What I like about something like this, where you can see the hot spot on there, is pretty tight, versus something like this, where you see it does have a decent spot, but hang on, if I can show this comparison, you'll see this outside. You can see this one's more tight and definitely brighter. Or something, for instance, like this. This one's 500 lumens, just like this is 650. You can see that tight beam, versus this is just kind of floody. And again, you don't believe me, go ahead, go around your house and just kind of see what that looks like. One of the things the security department I work for is actually, hopefully in the future, going to be switching to this. This is what I'm using with my current gun. And showing this compared to the actual X300, the Ultra, which is 1,000 lumens, which is brighter than this one. This one actually performs better than the brighter 1,000 lumen one, because it actually allows you to see what you're trying to see, and it doesn't illuminate all the crap along the way there. So again, try that, and if you don't believe me after that, then, I mean, your preferences are different. But I just want to kind of throw that out there as a practical example of testing yourself with something with, you know, high Candela versus something with lower Candela like this, and just see how much wasted light there is that actually comes back at you. All right, to kind of show you the difference between Candela and lumens, or just so you can kind of see a comparison between all of these different flashlights. Here you go. This is a 500 lumen. This is the Streamlight, I forgot what model it is. It's our 500 lumen little pocket light, little rechargeable one. And then here's a TLR7A. So you can see over here is the handheld TLR7A right here. With this, I don't know if you can make it out or not, but you can kind of see the shed. It's starting to flicker because the light's starting to go out. That means it needs charged. And also this Streamlight, all the rechargeable ones flicker. So that's kind of obnoxious. So that's that one. And then here's your TLR7A. Now again, to my naked eye, compared to the camera, you can probably, you know, double the brightness from what I'm seeing compared to what you see, but that gives you a general idea. So both of these, I don't know what the Candela is. I'll maybe annotate it below, but the Candela on the weapon mounted light, the TLR7, is higher than this one because the bezel is bigger. Now a better comparison, TLR7A, again, you can see over here. Now here is the Surefire. This is their new X300 Turbo. You see that significant difference. Now over here, 500 lumens, this is fresh battery. This is only 650 lumens. This is only 150 lumens more. So you can see how much more that Candela matters. You can't even see the trees, at least me looking at my phone right now that's recording. You see my dog over there. You know, yeah, you can see it's a dog, but now you can see everything. So that gives you a good idea of why Candela matters. And again, especially at distance, like I can see through that tree line if there was anybody in there, I could see them. With this, unless they were outside the trees, I could see them, but I could not see what's in their hand. Versus with this, I could see everything. So again, there's like I don't know if you can see right there on the edge of the shed. That's a little wheelbarrow, which you cannot see with this one. With this, you can see. So again, only 150 lumens brighter. All right, so here's a better comparison. You're going to have, this is the Inforce, their weapon mounted light. This is their white and IR version. And my dog decided to take a drink over here. So this one's about 700 lumens. It lights up the trees better, obviously, than the TLR7 does. I can kind of see into the trees. It's not a significant improvement, but you get more flood with this. It's brighter overall. It's a better light, but it's also twice the size, and it uses two CR123s. Again, 700 lumens, you can see, and here is the Surefire X300 Turbo. Again, night and day difference. And this one is technically 50 lumens brighter. So that's kind of to show you why Lumens and Candela are completely two different things. Obviously, the total output on this one, there's a bigger ring. I don't know if you can see that ring or not. It's off camera now. Now it's on camera. You can see that versus this one. I mean, it has a little bit of flood. Like the shed is still lit up right here, and now it's not. Now it is. There's the center, still lit up. Now it's not. So there's obviously more flood with this one, and if you want a floody light, then that's fine, but just know that you're going to give up quite a bit of I don't know, focus, able to identify your target, which honestly to me is what matters, because whenever you're searching for something, yeah, more flood might be better because it allows you to see, you know, kind of a wider field of view. But once your weapon is out, you want to actually be able to see what you're aiming at. I don't care so much about my periph, which I still have a good peripheral view with this one. There's still enough flood where I can see stuff, but I can see my target, which is the threat, way better with higher Candela. Here's going to be a comparison of something that you're going to be familiar with. Here is the TLR1 HL. I believe this is the 800 lumen. It might be the 1000 lumen. If it is, it's not as bright as it used to be. I think I got one of the older 800 lumen models, but anyways, it's still no slouch. I can see into the wood line, into the first couple trees over there, and then past that I can't. And here is the TLR, or sorry, the turbo. So again, over here you have the TLR1 HL. Over here you have the turbo. You can see that hot spot. So if I look, I can see, and on camera it does it pretty good justice, I would say, except in the tree line. You can't see the tree line really well on the camera, but I can see that wheelbarrow over there on the other side of the shed, in between it and the fence, and I could identify what it is. And if it was a person, I could probably see what's in their hands. I could see that there was someone in the woods. I wouldn't be able to see what's in their hands. With the turbo, again, I could see the person and what was in their hands into the woods. Again, you can see the light is shining over there right at the tree line. Turbo, significantly better. And for the distance for a pistol light, which these are for, you know, out to, I don't know, this is not 50 yards. This is probably about 30, maybe 40 yards to the tree line, something like that. So for a pistol shot, yeah, you could argue maybe that this is, you know, overkill maybe, but up close you really want to be able to see somebody, and also something controlling the person with the light. If you're giving them orders, if you're a cop or whatever, and you're trying to get them to comply with you, that high Candela is very painful to look at. And I'll show you a light here in a second that Rhett shined in my eyes the other day at the range in the daytime, and it physically hurt my eyes. Like I had to look away because I could feel, like it felt like my eyes were burning. It was not this light, but I'll show you here in a second. All right, another comparison. Here is the Streamlight. This is the Railmount. I think the HLX, whatever it's called. It's around 1000 lumens. Again, this light is no slouch. It performs very similar to the TLR1 HL. It has more Candela though. I think this one has like 20,000, something like that. So you can see, pretty bright. And then here is the turbo over here. Hopefully it'll focus on the shed over there again. It's thinking about it. All right, so again, over here, HLX, turbo. So this is a rifle mounted light, and you can see the turbo outperforms it. 1000 lumens, 650 lumens. So again, it depends on what you want, but comparison. All right, stepping up again. Here's the Olight Warrior Mini 2. This one I think is 1200 lumens on turbo. So here's your turbo. You can see it's actually got a decent hot spot for, I mean, for the size of the bezel. The bezel is incredibly small. This one has a huge throw. It actually lights up my entire backyard. But because of that, this hot spot, as you can tell, is not very focused. So again, 1200 lumens. So this light is twice as bright as the turbo. And here's the turbo. You can still see into the woods, whereas you can't over here. Again, I could, this works about as well as the TLR1 HL, I would say, maybe slightly better. But again, it's a rechargeable battery. It's a much brighter light. And the turbo still outdoes it. between the two of these, I would still rather have the turbo because it actually allows me to focus on what I want to see. Now this for searching is fine, but the turbo is what I would want on a pistol. And because these are the two brightest lights I own, again, here is the 1200 lumen Olight Warrior Mini 2. And then here is my favorite light that I've used to date when it comes to handheld. This is the Cyansky or Cyansky K3. This is their version 2. And you can see the Candela on this is, I think if I remember right, it's like 125,000 Candela. To give you a comparison, the Candela on the turbo, which is not this one, but the turbo on the Surefire is, I think, 66,000 Candela. So this one has basically double. And it's 2,000 lumens if I remember correctly. So, I mean, you're getting a much, much brighter beam. Let me turn it down to, I think I can turn it down to the next step, which here's low. Even on low, I think this is only like 100 lumens or something, and it actually works better than a lot of the other ones do. There's your low, medium, high. This one, I believe, is around 800 lumens, something like that. I'll annotate it down below. But you can see there's not a whole lot of flood. This right here actually looks very similar to the Surefire. You can see my dog over there. And then here's the turbo, which is 2,000. Let me grab the Surefire X300 turbo so you can kind of see the comparison. But again, 2,000 lumens, so yes, it has an advantage versus 1,200 lumens, but that 125,000 Candela is just phenomenal. This is by far my favorite hand light that I've used. Rhett has used his for about a year. Hey, my light came on over there. That's cool. Oh yeah, my dog's over there. This is my favorite hand light to date. This is one I use at work, and Rhett has used his, the version 1, for a long time, and he likes it because it's good at looking through car tint on vehicles. All right, and again, here is the Surefire. Now compared to this one, I mean, there's a difference. Obviously, this is 2,000 lumens and 125,000 Candelas. So the lumens on this one obviously are about 3 times as bright as the turbo. But considering that, so 2,000 lumens, 650 lumens. I mean, yeah, there's a difference, but I wouldn't say it was 3 times as much. The Candela is only about double, and I would say that's a fair comparison. And again, this light is just ridiculously bright. I could see anybody in that wood line as far as I can actually physically see. With this one, I can as well. It's just not as bright, obviously. But that should give you a pretty good comparison between the two. I absolutely love the Surefire Turbo, and I love the Cyansky or Cyansky light, however you pronounce it. They're my 2 favorite lights by far that I have out here. So this will give you a good comparison. This is going to be the Streamlight, what is it, the HLX 1000 lumen. You can see on here. So I can see into the wood lines fairly well. It lights up, you know, for what I would need. It has pretty good Candela. Now let me show you what the Surefire Vampire looks like. So I don't know if you can tell on camera or not. Hopefully it'll show up. But I would say brightness wise, they're honestly about the same brightness. So over here, Streamlight HLX. Here's the Surefire Vampire. Now, if you notice, there's like basically no flood on the Surefire because it's throwing all of that light into that hot spot. So I don't know if you can see over here on the left, just to the left of the shed. There's that hot spot, and you have the hot spot over here. The hot spots are essentially the same. What the Streamlight gives you is more flood. Now there's still a little bit of flood with this, just not nearly as much. But this Vampire white light is only 350 lumens. Again, 1,000 over here, and on the right, 350 lumens. What matters is the Candela, and because Surefire is phenomenal at creating good Candela, the hot spot, what I'm actually aiming at, is just as bright as this 1,000 lumen Streamlight. Now, if you like a really, really, really floody area, that's fine, but I mainly just want to light up the area I'm looking at. I don't need to light up the entire field, you know, that I'm staring at. I want to see the target. Now, obviously, more lumens and more Candela, better. I would take, obviously, both. That's why I like that Cyansky or Cyansky, the K3, because it gives me both. You could weapon mount it if you wanted to, but their tape switch only is proprietary, and so if they made one that worked with like a crane plug or with the Surefire plugs, then I would throw that on my home defense gun because I don't need night vision capability on that gun. But anyways, hopefully this gives you an idea of why Candela and lumens are one, they're 2 different things, and why I think Candela is far more important than lumens themselves. Because again, 1,000, 350 lumens, huge difference. Alright, so hopefully after seeing that video footage outside my backyard, you can kind of see the difference between the Candela and Lumens and see why Candela is more important. This is just kind of an informational video just to kind of show you the comparison of everything. So whenever you're making a light selection, look and see which you want. I will also say I've seen the new version of this. I forgot what it's called. It's made by Streamlight. I forgot what it's called. It's a ProTac, I think, 2.0 or something, where it has like 2,000 lumens, I want to say. But the Candela on it is actually worse than this. And so it's brighter, but honestly, like, they both perform the same at distance. So it's kind of one of those things, you're wasting light and battery power with higher lumens if it doesn't have good Candela. So that's just, to me, I don't know, something I've kind of learned as I went along, where I probably won't buy stuff. Well, I generally don't buy from Olight anyways. They make some stuff that's okay, but for tactical stuff, I generally don't like Olight, tactical. But whenever I'm looking at lights now, I'm definitely going to be looking at the Candela, because something like this is a fantastic light. Rhett actually has used one of these. He used the version 1 for almost a year now on shift. And he said one of the nice things about it is because the Candela is it's so focused, you can actually see through tinted windows, like whenever he makes traffic stops and stuff like that. So that's something useful. And again, if you're searching for somebody, you might want flood because you're just trying to see a big area. But if you've already found somebody, or something's a threat, or you want to identify if something specific is a threat, you don't need flood. You need light to see that specific person. So anyways, hopefully you found this video useful and just kind of a light comparison to see maybe if you're looking at buying, one of these lights. I know he's adorable. If you're looking at buying one of these lights, hopefully this helped you. Anyways, hopefully you all have a good day.